All right, guys, I just wanted to discuss a very complicated situation on the Los Angeles Angels regarding Shohei Ohtani, the two-way superstar who is, right now the favorite to win back-to-back MVPs. Should the Angels at this point, with Ohtani having a year and a half left on his contract due for a mega deal, should the Angels consider trading him and restocking their farm system completely? Maybe also trading Mike Trout. If, you trade Ohtani, you say you want to rebuild. Trout does have a no-trade clause, but I'm sure he would waive that considering the lack of postseason success he's had. And if you're the Angels, this makes a lot of sense. But guys, it is extremely complicated because right now, Shohei Ohtani has a year and a half left on his contract, and then obviously the Angels are going to have to pay him upwards of around $40 million per year. You also have Mike Trout under a massive, huge extension, 10-year extension, and then we all know about the Anthony Rendon, one of the worst contracts in baseball. He's getting upwards of $30 million per year over the next 5 or 6 seasons. So if you extend Ohtani after next year, you will have 3 players on your roster, Ohtani, Trout, and Rendon, making basically half of your salary. Is that a recipe for winning? I mean, you have Ohtani on a cheap deal right now and you can't win, right? So if you're the Angels, the reason this is so tough, Ohtani brings so much hype, so much marketability, so many ticket sales, the attendance, it's crazy. So you have to factor that in when trading him, but just looking at it and realizing we're going to have to pay Ohtani $40 million, Trout's already making a ton, Rendon's making a ton. We have a horrible farm system with no elite starting pitching prospects. You have to seriously consider it, and I think if you're talking about the best way to win, World Series championships, I would 100% seriously consider trading Ohtani. And I know it's an extremely difficult situation because you have to factor in the amount of ticket sales Ohtani brings, things like that. But he's got a year and a half left on his contract. If you trade him before the deadline, you can restock your farm system. And honestly, if you trade Mike Trout and Ohtani, you would have the #1 farm system in all of baseball. You would go from last to first. I'm not saying it's tough. I know it's tough, but you've had Mike Trout his whole career. You've won 0 playoff games. But again, I think the Angels would say we need to keep Trout because he brings in ticket sales, things like that. I'm just looking at it from a perspective, how do we win World Series rings? How do we go deep into the playoffs? We might have to completely tear down, and we have 2 pieces right now who are aging, who are only going to get worse, especially Mike Trout. He's getting older. His health is a question. It might be time to cash in if you trade Ohtani. Trout might waive his no-trade clause. Now, guys, here are some deals for Shohei Ohtani. They have him worth 109.4 in terms of his trade value, which is just crazy high for a player with only 1.5 years left on his contract. I mean, if Ohtani had 4 years remaining on his contract, he would be the most valuable player in baseball. But he still has over 100 in terms of trade value. You can see this trade with the Padres getting back Abrams. This is not my favorite trade for Ohtani, but, Abrams, CJ Abrams, really good shortstop prospect to restock. Grisham, I'm not sure I would target Grisham if I'm the Angels and I'm going into full rebuild, and then Wood as well. This is a deal with the Cardinals. The Cardinals make a lot of sense if they really want to go for it. You've got Paul Goldschmidt having an unbelievable season. You've got decent to really good pitching. You want Ohtani. You want to go for it this year and next year because Ohtani is under contract through next year. You could trade away Jordan Walker. This would be the big get for the Angels. He's a really young elite, probably the best third base prospect in baseball, top 10 prospect at the age of 20. Also, Tyler O'Neill. I would not target Tyler O'Neill if I'm trading Shohei Ohtani because I would want to rebuild. I would want to get prospects, not guys currently in the MLB. Tyler O'Neill is young, but I would target someone even younger than that. Here's one with the Dodgers. You know, we've heard the Dodgers potentially being involved for Juan Soto. They always have a great farm system. And I don't know if they would trade with the Dodgers. Going from LA to LA, that would be probably, really disliked by Angels fans. But I think Angels fans have to understand, you guys have tried to do this for years, with Mike Trout and now Ohtani, and it's just not working. You simply do not have starting pitching. You're not going to win. You're not going to win like this. So you have to rebuild. That would be 3 really solid prospects. Dustin May, the pitcher, maybe a little bit of a question mark coming off injury. I don't know if I'd put him at being worth 30.1 in terms of his trade value due to that injury, but he still is a really good lefty arm. That would be a really good haul. Those are 3. Could you imagine trading for those 3 prospects and then trading Mike Trout? You're going to have 6 or 7 top 50 prospects in baseball at that point. This is one with the Red Sox. So could the Red Sox make a run at Ohtani and then try and re-sign him? Mayer, the young infield prospect, that would be a major get for the Red Sox. And then some pitching as well. 2 good pitching prospects for the Angels returning and the Red Sox getting Ohtani. And then this is one with the Yankees trading for Ohtani. I don't think Ohtani wants to go to New York. I think he wants a smaller market if possible. But, you would give up Dominguez, Volpe. That would be a great haul for the Angels. Basically, if you trade Ohtani, you're looking at 2 elite prospects. And same thing if you trade Mike Trout. Mike Trout's going to have more trade value than Ohtani. But with Mike Trout, you would probably almost have to trade him to a big market team because his contract is so big. It's not that his contract is bad. Again, this is all assuming you trade Ohtani, you go into rebuild mode, you tell Trout that, and Trout says, yeah, dude, I want to win a playoff game. Mike Trout has not won a playoff game yet in his career. He's going to want to win a playoff game. He will waive his no-trade clause, and I think the perfect fit for Mike Trout would be a team like the Yankees or the Dodgers or a bigger market team that has a good farm system that can unload their entire farm system. You could be looking at getting an extreme return, basically 2 entire farm systems worth in separate trades if you trade Ohtani and Trout. I mean, again, guys, it's just not working with the Angels. They're trying it. Ohtani's having a great season. Trout's having a really good season. They're still not winning, right? And it's because they have no pitching. And also Anthony Rendon taking up that contract as well. Does a team, maybe want to try and trade for Anthony Rendon with Ohtani to try and get the cost lower? Because Anthony Rendon's contract is a complete negative right now overall. And this is another trade with the Cardinals, Nolan Gorman, Matthew Liberatore, Mason Wynn. Those are 5 really good prospects. You would figure at least 3 of them would pan out. You're getting back 3 solid MLB potential players, all with extremely controllable contracts for multiple years, and you're trading away 1.5 years of Ohtani. The main problem the Angels are going to have, you've already got 2 mega contracts. Anthony Rendon, who's going to be a horrible contract. Mike Trout's contract might end up being bad late in his 30s when you look at his injury problems. So you've already got those 2 contracts, and Ohtani, as great as Ohtani is, there's a lot of things that can go wrong with giving Shohei Ohtani a 7-year contract to where, what if he needs Tommy John surgery? There's a number, if you're both a hitter and a pitcher, there's a higher risk theoretically for injury. I know he's not playing the field much. He's mainly a DH when he's hitting. But still, that is another big risk. It's like you're going to have 3 big contracts. The Rendon contract is just terrible. The Mike Trout contract could become bad based on his injury history. And the Ohtani contract is a gamble, giving him $40 million per year, which is what a team is going to do just based off his marketability. It's a gamble. There's an injury risk there. I think this is probably the best haul the Angels could get back for Ohtani, to where you can look at the values and they're relatively similar. Now, the Guardians being a small market team, there's zero chance the Guardians would trade these prospects, but these are two potential aces, a potential middle of the bat right fielder, and Nolan Jones, who's kind of a third baseman. They've kind of transitioned him to being an outfielder, but he has come up to the big leagues the past few days and done really well trading for Ohtani. This is four elite prospects right here. If I'm the Angels and I could do this, I would do it tomorrow. I would do this. These are four top 100 prospects. Three top 50 prospects, I would say, once Gavin Williams gets rated properly. He's having an unbelievable season. This would be the Angels' best move, and then you trade Mike Trout for like the Yankees' entire system. Now you've got an absolute influx of talent. It's a tough situation because you never want to go into a full rebuild mode, and I don't think the Angels will, because it would cripple their fan base. You know, you still have Ohtani pitching every 6th day because they have like a 6-man rotation or whatever. Give him an extra rest. You still have Ohtani. You still have Trout. You still have a draw to the ballpark. But there comes a point, and there's like a fork in the road when you ask yourself, okay, we have these two really good players. One of them is making a ton of money. The other one is going to have to get paid a ton of money. We can't even win with Ohtani on a short contract, on a very affordable contract, when we pay him $40 million and have to allocate that much money to one player. Also, you're paying Rendon a ton. How does this work out? You have to start thinking about it and moving quickly, because now is like Ohtani's best value. This is the most value he's going to have, because once you hit the offseason, now he's only got 1 year left on his contract. He's going to have a lot less value than he does right now with 1.5 years left. That's potentially 2 pennant races for a team like the Cardinals. They would give someone like Jordan Walker for him, things like that. This is something you've got to think about doing. I'm not saying they're doing it. It's extremely complicated. It's just something to think about when assessing the potential packages you could return for Ohtani. And they've tried. It's like you've tried with Mike Trout, you've tried. At some point, you got to be like, all right, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again. They've got Mike Trout, and then they try and get a bunch of these pieces. Oh, we got Noah Syndergaard on a 1-year deal. You know, we got pitching now. It just isn't working. You have to do something different to make the future different. You keep having horrible farms, a bad farm system. Prospects bust left and right. Joe Adell's got a major hole in his swing. So, with the Angels, you've got to do something different. And we'll see what they decide to do. I'm guessing they will end up extending Ohtani, which would give them 3 mega contracts. Maybe they hope and pray that Anthony Rendon can re-find the form. But he's also got major injury concerns himself. So Mike Trout has injury concerns going into his 30s. Rendon's going to have injury concerns. And Ohtani is a risk as well. This is not a recipe for future success if you have these 3 guys under major contracts. Maybe 1 year you catch lightning in a bottle, you get lucky, and they're all healthy, and Rendon performs well. But other than that, it's an extremely risky proposition, and that's why I think the Angels should considering trading Shohei Ohtani. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I am, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.